What's up, guys? It's Gary with Fresh from the Farm Fungi here in Denver, Colorado, and I wanted to do a video on the daily routines of a mushroom farmer. So this could be different for, depending on the scale and scope of your business, but I just wanted to go through the daily routine of here at Fresh from the Farm Fungi. So the first thing I do is grab my coffee. Alright, and then should probably do some chores in the morning, like feed the cats and clean up my sink so to keep my wife happy. So I'll start off by doing that. Alright, now we got that out of the way. I just thought I'd mention that, we're a pretty big cooking family, so if you ever have any gourmet mushroom recipes, we have a Facebook page that's dedicated to gourmet mushroom chefs and recipes. There's lots of info on there, and we even have a bunch of little clips of us cooking with our mushrooms on our Instagram if you're ever interested in checking out our highlight reel. There's a lot of fun dishes on there, and comment below if you have any cool creative dishes, especially with lion's mane. That's one of my favorites, or I really like the brown oysters too. But now that the chores are out of the way, I usually take care of the routine checks next. So I'll do my temperature checks, make sure my reservoirs are filled, all of my supplies. So I'll go through my inventory real quick, just a quick glance. Usually I do more thorough check once a month. But I want to make sure I have everything I need, especially on a Monday like today. So I'll go downstairs and go through my temp checks and my environmentals, and then check my Etsy orders. So that's one of my favorite things is once I go through everything, I'll get my Etsys together, go deliver those, and then grab my breakfast and take a shower. So one of the most important things about growing mushrooms is you learn to schedule your life around your showers. So always go from cleanest procedures to dirty procedures, and then today's gonna be a lab day, so I wanna make sure I have fresh, clean clothes, the lab's clean, take a shower and mitigate any potential contamination that way. Alright, so I'm doing my temperature checks this morning, and I noticed that my incubation is a little bit warm. It's sitting at 81. It was a really hot weekend here in Denver, but I'm not too concerned. 81 is tolerable, but one thing I will do is space out my bags more. So if you're having temperature issues with your incubation, it's always a good idea to space your bags out, and that way there'll be more airflow, and then your bags won't be touching each other or giving off heat, and that will help mitigate contamination. But it's supposed to get down to the 30s tomorrow, which is crazy, but that's what growing mushrooms in Colorado is a pretty big challenge, because you have to mitigate all these temperature swings. Even though it's indoor, the slight variations between 76 degrees, which I'm shooting for, and 81 can mean a lot. So it's just really important to pay attention to your environment, pay attention to the weather, and adjust accordingly. Alright, so we just got our Etsy orders ready. These are going to be shipping out USPS today. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the orders and helping me spread the mycelium. It means a lot to me to see everyone else growing the genetics, and it helps sustain our never-ending breeding project, which is one of my favorite parts of growing mushrooms, and what I think is one of the most important is to maintain healthy genetics and just continue to improve those. So I'm planning on continuing my breeding throughout the winter, and I'll release new strains as I test them in the grow room. And we've got some beach mushrooms that are looking really fine, so I'm gonna dial in those on my plates, and we'll be putting a couple different beach mushrooms out, and then also the cordyceps. I've got those on rice right now, so they're going to be fruiting out pretty soon. And I know the mail's been a little bit slow, but you always have the option to do priority shipping. I haven't had any issues as far as orders getting lost, so I have a lot of faith in the mail. And then if anyone's ever down to trade, I'm open to trades too, so shoot me an email, and we'll continue this breeding project until we got the best, most rigorous genetics on the planet. All right, coming out of Colorado. All right, so I just finished up kind of the morning projects, and now I'm gonna be diving into the lab work. All right, so Etsy's are taken care of. I had a nice light breakfast onto my second cup of coffee, and then took a shower, and now I am ready for lab work. So I like to do 2 lab days a week, so that on the first lab day I'll do my inoculations and plate production, and then my next lab day I'll do my liquid culture production and like my grain spawn. Well, I guess that's kind of combined with production, but that's how I organize my week, so that if I do them 3 days apart, I can leave either my plates to ensure their quality control. So I just leave them in the flow hood to make sure that there's no contamination that starts to grow when they're supposed to be sterile, which that means I have to change my filter usually. But I try to keep up on that so it doesn't happen. And then the other useful reason for spacing out your lab days is for liquid cultures. So I produced a bunch of my mini jars, which I use for my stock cultures, and then I left them in the flow hood over the weekend, so that today I can go into the hood and make sure that those liquid cultures are sterile. So let's go over there. All right, so you can see these are my liquid cultures over the weekend. There's no cloudiness, and then I've got my slants over here that I'm going to be working with. So I've also got my bag of rice from last week as a quality control, so that I'm ensuring the sterility of my sterilization as well. And this kind of goes against what I usually say, because normally I would pour my plates before I work with sterile tissue, because that's the cleanest process first. But to me, this is the end of last week, so I'm gonna finish this up, and that means that after I'm done with this process, I'm gonna really clean out my hood good, and then I'll be pouring my plates. So I'll go ahead and go through my inoculations using my slant cultures over here, and then I'll clean my hood out, and then I'm gonna be pouring plates. Another reason I don't pour my plates first is because I like a lot of room in the hood. I pour a lot of plates, so I need as much space as possible. All right, so I've got all my slants picked out for my liquid cultures, and I got 1 plate of blue oysters that I'm going to be using, and then I want to give a shout out to Mossy Creek Mushrooms. They turned me on to this new technique that's a needle biopsy. So these are those beach mushrooms I was talking about. I'm gonna dub them turtle cap beach. They're really lovely looking mushrooms, and they have like a sweeter, almost anise flavor profile to them. So I'm gonna be using the needle biopsy technique at the end to clone this phenotype. It's been about 3 generations through the grow now, so I feel like I've really got it dialed in. So as always, the first thing is just cleaning your workstation and going from cleanest to dirtiest. So my slant cultures are going to be the cleanest. I'm going to start off with this lion's mane and just work through this. Okay guys, so I've got my liquid cultures from my slants over here, and now I'm gonna move on to my needle tissue biopsy. So the idea behind this is that you can just take a piece of tissue using a sterile needle and then shoot it into the injection port, and it will go into your liquid culture without ever having to use a blade. So I'm gonna get my needle ready. Ideally you want to use a larger gauge needle, but this is all I have right now. I've never tried this before, but I'm gonna go for this really big beach mushroom here. I really like the cap on that. These are, you know, really firm. They almost got like a crunch to them. So the trick is just to get to some sterile tissue. So looks like that's a really good spot, and with this you only have one shot. So I'm gonna try to start by priming the pump. So I've got a little bit of liquid for some force, and then you're just gonna want to slide your needle gather up some tissue inside that needle, and then we're gonna take, and you can see that piece floating around in solution right there. That's the sterile tissue from the needle biopsy. Alright guys, so now I'm going to be making my agar. I've got a video on that and all the liquid cultures that I make. If you want to check out that video on the media extractor, it's available on our YouTube channel, so check that video out, and I'm going to go ahead and make this agar. Alright, so the agar is cooking right now, and this is usually kind of my downtime while the agar is cooking. It's being sterilized, and I do my research or do my reading or catch up on paperwork during this period. It's really important to not go into the fruiting room yet. I'm about to pour my plates, so I'm trying to stay clean. I'm in the lab, so it's a clean environment, and I'm just waiting for that agar to cook and then cool down to temp, and I'll be pouring out those plates. So my philosophy in just, you know, running a business or running life in general is to try to get everything done by noon. That's important. So today was my lab day. I'm making sure that I get everything done by noon so that, you know, the afternoon is a lot less stressful. All I have to do is go check on the mushrooms, pick what's available, bring it to the market. So more like shuffling around my mushrooms that are at the markets, and more like I guess organizational tasks where, you know, the heavy lifting, and either, you know, I do productions or, you know, all my lab stuff in the morning, and that way my head is in it and I'm mostly focused, and that's, you know, my tip to growing mushrooms. So I'm gonna just be waiting until this agar's ready, and then pretty much that's it for today as far as lab stuff.
I'll do another video at some point on how I do my production work and, you know, going through my harvesting. I have some videos out there on when to harvest lion's mane at the right time, and basically I just go in there at noon and then right before I go to bed, and depending on where the mushrooms are, that gives me 2 chances to pick every day. Eventually, as production ramps up, I'm going to be having to pick more often, and that will probably be the bottleneck eventually. But that's, you know, one of the best parts about growing mushrooms is just picking them and enjoying the fruits of your labor, and then eating them. Like I said, we're big chefs in this house, so we're always looking for recipes, and being at farmers markets is nice because we get really high quality ingredients. Shout out to all our favorite vendors at Cherry Creek and all the other artisan shops that we're at. It really, you know, helps improve our life just to be surrounded by local, really healthy products, and just really down-to-earth people too. So I hope you guys enjoy these videos. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. We'll be posting, you know, different agar recipes, so comment if you have any suggestions. Right now I'm doing some MEA and some water agar, and I'm hoping to get some, you know, possibly some more differential plate media or something like that out on Etsy. You guys have been really great so far, so thanks for watching, and until next time, much love.